Welcome to the Shelby Township Board of Trustees meeting here on November 19th, 2024. Boy, the end of the year, it's really just around the corner here. We'll start, as we always do, with the invocation. Here with us tonight is Father James Grau. He's from St. John Vianney Catholic Church at 54045 Shaner Road, right here in Shelby Township. Thank you.
So as we begin, let us take a moment to put ourselves in the presence of God. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for all your blessings. We give you thanks for the blessings you bestowed upon each one of us and upon our community. We give you thanks for the great honor of being able to serve you and to serve the people here, using our gifts and our talents to further your glory. Lord, this evening we ask for wisdom. We ask for prudence. Help us to see the path and lighten our ways. We ask that you give us courage. We ask you to help us to persevere with the spirit of sacrifice in those areas where we are called to make hard decisions. We give you glory for all things. We ask that all that we do may be for that purpose. For you are Lord, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father Grau, thank you very much from St. John Vianney Catholic Church. We appreciate you being here. Okay, actually, before we take the roll, Ms. Missage, if you want to come up, we'll let you review the top 10 priorities. Okay, thank you. You want some help? You got it?
Yep.
We got some helps on the way here.
Excuse me, we have it. I've done this a couple of times before.
Maybe you didn't have to come in tonight.
Good evening, board members. Each year, as part of our budget preparation, the Board of Trustees holds a community-wide visioning exercise to help establish priorities for the coming year. The annual visioning exercise offers another way for residents to participate in the township and help chart our direction in the future. Due to the success of these online surveys, we decided to keep the same format this year, but expand the process. The residents had an ability to take the survey at any one of the municipal offices, the library. All the employees were ready and willing to help any resident that wanted to participate in the survey. The survey was open to the residents from September 23rd to October 7th. With that, any suggestions that were received from the residents were also added in for the department heads and also the township board to conduct their own survey. Once that was done, we came up with our top 10 priorities that are up on the board right here. Just a note, over 900 residents this year participated in this process, so it's over 141 residents from last year. So thank you to Community Relations for getting the word out to the residents and doing a big push on this survey. It really helps the whole process out. So as you can see, our top 10 priorities are up on the board. The first four are initiatives that have been on the top 10 priorities for a number of years. Continue to pursue sidewalk connectivity is also on that. But number one this year is blight enforcement, which we work diligently with the code enforcement department in bringing up sites into conformance. At the next meeting, we'll have a presentation as far as our progress on that blight enforcement initiative. Participate in local road improvement funding, continue to pursue sidewalk connectivity, and prioritize the Civic Center development plan for the municipal campus here on township grounds. Now, the next 5 through 8 of all deal with road improvements, and then a planner's dream is develop a tree management plan to preserve the township's tree canopy. So those are our goals for next year, and we'll be diligently working on those priorities.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I just want to take note of one thing. In residents, I want to let you know that our board hears you loudly and clearly that you want these roads fixed. 5 of the top 10 priorities this year actually have something to do with roads. So we see that, and obviously, you know, we don't own these roads, the county does, but we will continue our passion and progress toward extracting as much money as we can from the county, because we have never, ever said no to a road improvement. The problem is not us not having the money. The problem is there not being enough money from the state of Michigan. Now, I know they keep talking about Act 51, and they've been talking about this. Act 51 is in 1951, they came up with this formula where they pay by the linear mile. Now, if you only have a 2-lane highway, okay, you still get one sum of money. If you have a 6-lane highway, guess what? You get the same same amount of money. That's not fair. So when you go up north, I've got an uncle in Gaylord, he keeps asking me, why do they keep tearing this road up every 3 years? It's because if they don't use the money, they lose it. We're not tearing up any roads. We're just trying to reconstruct, and we're just trying to get roads so they're not, as Mark Alco calls them, vehicle pathways. And we have a lot of those in Shelby Township, and we're not happy about that. So we're going to continue. We're very passionate about this, and I'm really quite tired of people talking about Act 51, because I don't think it's going to be changed in my lifetime. Maybe it will, but we got to start talking about things that we can do. And if it means getting busloads of people to go to Lansing and having a road revolution, then maybe that's what we need to do. But we are the taxpayers. And quite frankly, I'm getting tired of hearing about how everybody's going to fix the roads. This money has not come forward. And I'm going back to many administrations who have made promises that they're going to supply money to us for better roads. Well, we've got 72 miles of roads that are rated either a 1, 2, or 3. 72 miles. That's about $200 million we need to fix. And I'm only talking about subdivision roads now, not the main roads. We don't have $200 million. Nobody's got that kind of money. We're not asking for that. We're spending about $1 million a year, and we're losing ground. If we keep spending just what we're spending, $1 million a year, then we're going to be not 72 miles of bad roads. It's going to be 80 in 5 years. So we're going to keep doing what we can do, and it's not a question of us not having the money. It's a question of the county not being able to get the money they need from the state. And maybe we do need to go to Lansing. I don't know, but I know I told Mark Ackel, whatever he needs, please let us know, because we will be there, and we will do anything we need to do to make them, to get their attention, because it's our money. And one last thing I want to say, these top 10 priorities, thank you very much, Julie, for doing this. I don't know of another community in Michigan where people actually tell you to take a survey or come on in and tell us how you want your money spent. It's your money. And we spend about $75 million a year of your money. And quite frankly, we were probably ready to spend some money, more money, on this township hall, but because of what we see here, we've changed some of the initiatives, and we have a bucket of money behind each of these initiatives because it's what you want. So you are the voice of this community, and one of the responsibilities we have is to listen to you, and that's exactly what we're doing. I always tell people there's only 3 skills we need to have up here. We need to know how to add, and everybody up here knows how to add really well. We need to know how to subtract. Everybody does that really well, and we need to listen. That's it. Those are the only skills you need. So anytime you need something, call any one of us, and we're here for you. Thanks again for coordinating this as you do every
Welcome.
year.
Thank you.
So on that note, Mr. Grove, can you take the roll?
Jim Carabelli. Lisa Casali.
Here.
Lucia DeSico.
Here.
Stanley Gross here. Rick Stefficus.
Here.
John Vermeulen.
Here.
And Vince Viviano.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Grote. Next is a community development block grant project modification. Mrs. Missage is here to discuss this next issue. Board, you may recall that earlier this year, the township allocated funds from the community development block grant program so that it can install sidewalks along the south side of Hamlin from Ryan Road to DeQuinder. However, the Housing and Urban Development Agency recently updated the eligibility maps and they no longer qualify for funding. Therefore, Ms. Message has identified two new projects. One is along 23 Mile Road, and a second is on Van Dyke Avenue. Do I have all that correct?
Yes, it's for the installation of ADA sidewalks.
Yeah, I don't have it all correct. That's why we have her. I'll let you go ahead and,
Yeah, you had one small little piece missing. It's, these two projects are going to be for the installation of ADA sidewalks along the north and south sides of 23 Mile from Van Dyke to DeQuinder, and on the east and west sides of Van Dyke from Nancy Avenue to 22 Mile. So we'll be resubmitting our application since those eligibility maps are no longer valid from earlier this year.
okay, since this is a public hearing, I will ask someone to open it up with a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Grove?
move to open the public hearing for 2024 Community Development Block Grant.
Motion made by Mr. Grote, supported by Mr. Viviano. Do we need a roll call on this?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah. Stanley Grote, yes. Vince Viviano.
Yes.
Jim Carabelli.
Aye.
Lisa Casali.
Yes.
Lucia DeSico.
Yes.
Rick Steffikis.
Yes.
And John Vermeulen.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Grote. If anyone would like to speak just on this topic, the 2024 Community Development Block Grant Project, this would be the time. Anyone? Okay, I'll bring it up to the board. Board, do you have any questions or any discussion? Okay, if not, then would someone like to make a motion to close this public hearing?
Mr. Chairman, move to close the public hearing for 2024 Community Development Block Grant.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Grote, seconded by Mrs. Lucia. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
Roll call?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Stanley Grote, yes. Lucia DeSico.
Yes.
Rick Steffikis.
Yes.
John Vermeulen.
Yes.
Vince Viviano.
Yes.
Jim Carabelli.
Aye.
Elisa Casali.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda that has been presented?
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes, Mr. Grote.
move to approve consent agenda as follows. Minutes, work session, September 16, 2024. Board meeting, October 1st, 2024. Board meeting, October 15, 2024. Move to approve the minutes as presented. Next item, termination of utility easement. Move to concur with the recommendation of DPW Director Danielle Allen and terminate the easement fund at Liber 24,478, pages 956-958, as indicated on the attached termination of utility easement documents. Next item, fire truck 1 repairs. Move to concur with the recommendation of Fire Chief Frank Pierce and approve the repair cost of Shelby Fire Truck 1 on repair order number 65748 from Apollo Fire Apparatus Sales and Service in Romeo, Michigan, for $11,534.39. Funds are to be taken from Fire Fund line item 206-336-931-000. Next item, Township Policy Against Workplace Bullying. Move to grant the request of Human Resources Director Lisa Suda and adapt the policy against workplace bullying as presented. Next item, resolution to waive property tax administrative fees. Move to adopt a resolution to waive property tax administrative fees as presented. Next item is 2025 summer tax collections. Move to authorize Shelby Township Treasurer James Carabelli to enter into negotiation with local school districts, which includes Utica Community School, Romeo Community School, Rochester Community Schools, Macomb Intermediate School District, Oakland Intermediate School District, and Macomb Community College for collection of the 2025 summer school taxes. Next item is credit card purchase in the amount of $28,617.42. Move to approve the credit card purchase in that amount. And the last item, bill run in the amount of $3,110,308.01. Move to approve the bills run in that amount, Mr. Supervisor, and move to approve consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Grote, seconded by Mrs. DeSico. Any discussion? Let's take a roll call, please.
Stanley Grote, yes. Lucia DeSico.
Yes.
Rick Steffikis.
Yes.
John Vermeulen.
Yes.
Vince Viviano.
Yes.
Jim Carabelli.
Aye.
And Lisa Casali.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Let's go to the agenda. And I see it's up on the screen. So we've got 13 items tonight. Number one is the introduction for rezoning petition 24-30, Michelle Churko. Number two is the introduction of the conditional rezoning and site plan special land use 24-27, Mr. Guy Rizzo. Number three is the introduction of the conditional rezoning and site plan land use number 24-04. That would be Mr. Phil Ruggieri on Shaner 26 Properties, LLC. Number four would be the appeal for revocation. This would be for the tobacco at 51350 Van Dyke. Number five would be the Clinton River water main crossing replacement. Number six would be Shelby Township, Rochester MOU. This would be the water storage facility, which would be a nice check coming to Shelby Township. We'll talk more about that. Number seven is a request for proposal approval. This is the single waste hauler. Number eight is a DPW building repairs. Number nine, 911 upgrade. Number 10, community relations building. Number 11, the ordinance 301 electric bike ordinance. Number 12 is a resolution adopting DNR rule number 50-24-002. And finally, number 13 is ordinance number 302. This would be the hunting and firearm amendment. And that should do it.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve agenda as presented.
Motion made by Mr. Grote, seconded by
Support.
Mr. Viviano. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Residents, now is the time for public comment. It's your opportunity for you to address the board regarding any of the items that I've just covered. Your comments pursuant to board policy are limited to 3 minutes. Please keep in mind that while the scope of your discussion at this point of the meeting should be limited to these agenda items that I've just covered, you will also have an opportunity at the end of the meeting to discuss a wider range of topics that relate to our wonderful township. Is there anyone who'd like to come up and talk about any of the items that we just covered? Mr. Ruggieri.
Good evening, everyone. Phil Ruggieri on behalf of the petitioner and myself. I made a PowerPoint presentation. Hopefully I can get it within 3 minutes. I just want to start off with the fact that I've been involved in Shelby Township for about 38 years now. I lived here since 1986. I probably brought over $200 million worth of development into our community, and every deal has been an excellent deal. Never brought a bad deal. So I want that theme to permeate throughout our presentation. And for those, just to highlight a few things, I was instrumental in bringing Central Park, Da Francesco's, Palazzo Grande, Myers, cross street in Washington Township, Home Depot, Targets, 24 in Shaner, the commercial developments on both sides of the road. Those are just a few. And also, you know, I've had the gas station on West Utica and Ryan, 3 fast food operations. I've got the 2 Burger Kings, 23 Shaner, 21 Hayes, and the Popeyes on 23 Mile Road. So let me start out with the particular project that we have. Well, I might need some help here.
Hey guys, can you help? They're coming.
The project is located at
Yep.
the southwest corner of 26 Mile and Shaner. This is the depiction of the property when it was originally acquired. Oh, sorry. There we go. Okay. All right. As you can see on the screen, can we get that on the screen?
Can we get it on the screen? Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Stathakis, just while we're waiting for that to come up on the screen, typically we have a 3 minutes limit here. I don't think the applicant's going to be within 3 minutes. Sometimes you let applicants speak when the agenda item's up, so since he's here, if you want to permit the board satisfied permitting him to go over now, 3 minutes, and then he wouldn't be speaking when the agenda item is called. You want to handle it that way?
Yeah, because during the agenda item, folks, as Mr. Huth just said, there's no time limit when they come up and present. But since he's presenting now, you're saying we're going to apply that rule now instead of later.
Okay.
So either way, it's negated. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so there's no vote needed, is what you're saying?
Right.
Okay, good.
So under the original properties, just around 11 acres of land, and this is the southwest corner of 26 and Shaner. And during our due diligence, I determined that along the Shaner corridor, almost every corner from Hall Road all the way to 26 is earmarked for some form of commercial. In this particular area, it's been formatted to be, since 2007, under your master land use plan, a commercial convenience designation. So during my due diligence and speaking with administration, I approached about having a convenience commercial center with a ancillary gas station or a gas component added on, and it seemed to have some favorable response. So what I had done is carved out only the section that I wanted to utilize for the commercial component, and that's as you see on the screen. So they both have different Sidwell numbers, and the part to the north east is the actual designated commercial convenience site, and that's about just over 3¼ acres of land. The next screen shows the totality of that property, and then the units to the south along Shaner are some residential homes, the three most southerly sites. In your master land use plan, it specifies a multitude of uses, which I have shown on here, and the master plan designates this as commercial, community commercial. The district is intended for the widest variety of retail and business services. And this is the zoning map that shows the district. You've got the surrounding properties to the west, which is R1, to the east R1, south R1B, and then to the north you have Washington Township. And let's see here, okay. Here's the zoning map that shows, as I said earlier, the corridor along Shaner Road. The dark pinkish color, light purple, what have you, is a commercial designation, and at the very top of the screen is the parcel at stake. Again, this highlights the zoning map, again, pointing out that piece. And bear in mind that after the split, we still own about 7½ acres to the west. So that is our property, and we are the one property that is adjacent to this proposed development. And that's still going to stay under the R1 designation. We have no intention of modifying that, because if I did, we would have done that all as a PUD. But strictly deal with the corner, and we want to keep that under a residential designation. Okay, and I'm going to pass some of these out, because I think, well, let's see if you can see that clear. That's a depiction of what it looks like looking at the northwest corner towards the Washington Township property. You can see a heavily laid out landscape berm, not berm, but vegetation along 26 Mile Road, which for all intents and purposes insulates the residents that live in Washington Township. Their backyards abut those trees, and you cannot see their homes from our property. And I took the liberty of going to their subdivision. Well, this next site shows you what 26 looks like. This is an entire corridor of easement, which will be future road expansion on 26 Mile Road. And you can see, although it looks nice and green, that is going to be a road that will go pretty close to where that sidewalk is. And that just lets you know what 26 Mile Road looks like. This is the backyard. Looking from their sidewalk, I'm looking now towards the south towards our property, and you can see heavy vegetation there. You cannot see the property. That's how thick and dense the buffer is in existence. Likewise, the house next door, same situation. You cannot see the property from the sidewalk. 26 Mile Road is designated as a major thoroughfare. That is the easement right-of-way map that's been designated for that expansion, and we're looking at a 3 to 5 lane highway down the road. In here, for our proposal is at 26 and Shaner. The closest gas station to the west is the Speedway, which is 1.8 miles to the west, and to the east, it's 1.7 miles all the way to Macomb Township at Romeo Plank and where the Kroger site is. So you got almost 2 miles either way, and this is a perfect fit right in the middle. When I first did my due diligence, Shelby Township does not have water and sewer along that lines, but since this is about a 2-year process, I understand that it will come along the roadway because under the PowerPoints presented tonight, on item number 6, the expansion between 25 and 26 for the road system is going to be underway, and that will include the infrastructure. So this may be a moot point by the time this development's ready, but what I did is I reached out to Washington Township and Shelby Township DPWs and had a tentative agreement that was put together by legal counsel for Washington Township, which is this entire document, that would allow us to tap in under 26 Mile Road on a temporary basis to get our water and sanitary. And then once Shelby brought the sanitary and water along Shaner, we would abandon this line at our expense and then tap in across Shaner Road to have it permanently in place at that point. We didn't know, how things go. They talk about road expansion and underground, but you never know when that's going to happen, just like you said about funding. But we're ready to go. Okay, and then the next series of documents is this Giffel-Webster, which is, I have Andy Wakeland from Giffels-Webster, and I have Mark Shovers, our architect, just addressing all the issues that can come about. And I'm just going to hand this out, and you can pass it along. It just for clarity purposes, some of the photographs, you get a better depiction. Just want to make sure, because sometimes it's a little foggy up there. Okay, this picture shows what I call the tin can gas station. Not to be derogatory in any nature, but that's basically what our gas stations have been consisting of for a long time. A small box, a large canopy with a lot of pumps. And this is 23 in Shaner, which is 3 miles south of us. As you can see, it's pretty much, like I said, it's a tin can. It's all metal, and they have a car wash behind it that's been abandoned, and at this point, it's just strictly, that format. Now, there's been a major metamorphosis or change in gas stations, and I was instrumental in setting the tone in Sterling Heights at Plumbrook and Shaner. I created this gas station, which looks a lot like an office complex, a little bit of residential flavor, and it was well received in Sterling Heights, and since that time, everything in Sterling Heights has to meet that standard or higher. And I've also done that same thing here in Shelby Township at West Utica and Ryan. We put the gas station there as well. It has that same ambiance of being residential in character, fits into the neighborhood, aesthetically pleasing, well landscaped and maintained. So this depiction just shows you in Sterling Heights how there's residential components surrounding the area, and they've had no problems, zero impact on property values, et cetera. This is West Utica and Ryan. You can see the same residential characteristic, and it's surrounded by condos, which I had rezoned back several years ago. We sold them the north portion, and while we were under construction, they sold out all their condos to the north. And all you have separating that gas station and those condos is the 6-foot brick wall, which shows you how complementary that this particular concept can work well with the community. It's not going to infringe on the value. It's going to be an added addition. It provides convenience to the residents. This again just shows you how the close proximity of the condos to the gas station. And this one is the most fitting. You got that wall, and you got the condo right there. Never had a problem. The property values that they've sold them at significantly high values in that location. Okay, how do I get to the next one? Stuck. Oh, okay, thanks. All right, we'll move on from that. That's just more of the same thing, just, okay. Oh, this particular site, to show you how well a development can blend in with the community, when I did the zoning for 24 Mile and Shaner on the west side for a group of developers, we have a component of commercial and medical offices on the south side of 24 Mile. And I had a lot of resistance, especially from the Royal Forest subdivision, because they lived across the street from it. But as it turned out, they made a beautiful development, has a nice characteristic similar to residential in nature, which we're trying to accomplish, and that's been a big plus for our community. It's well attended by the same people that resisted it. They realize it's not an attack on their neighborhood or their values. It blends in quite well. And that's the point I wanted to address with this particular project. Okay, and that just shows you the different formats. Now, our particular project, this is a view from Shaner looking west where the components are. Originally, I had it designed to have 8 pumps. I reduced it down to 6 after sitting down with professionals in the business, only minimizing the actual gas pumps that we needed and concentrating heavily on the commercial convenient section of the development, which is the building itself. Just let me get my pages up to speed here. The next view is, this is a semi-aerial view of what it would look like with the building. You've got substantial buffering to the south, and in actuality, those trees to the south of where the pumps are, that's a part woodland, part wetland, which will stay intact. And what we've done is added, you'll see later in our landscape plan, extensive landscaping to the south to have a complete barrier to all the development or the 3 residential houses to the south. Likewise, we've developed a plan along the perimeter to the front of the project to cluster the trees so that it's not as hidden as it shows on that. That was redone recently per the comments from Planning Commission. I just don't want this stuff to go flying here, sorry. This is another view showing you how the building is designed. Again, very rich in character, brick, stone, nice facade. It has a 2-story characteristic, but it's a 1-story operation, okay? And that building itself, the next show, this is from the west side of the building looking east toward Shaner, and this is what the building looks like up close. Very well, tastefully done. Mark's done an excellent job in designing it. It fits well with all the new gas stations that are popping up. And by the way, gas stations and convenience centers can't live independent of one another. They have to have something to help maintain their profitability and the continuity. And likewise, when I was at the Planning Commission, the first item on the agenda was a marathon station on West Utica and DeQuinder. That gentleman wanted to increase the size of his building, renovate it, kind of mirror what we're doing here, and have a full liquor license, okay? Because the gas is not enough. You have to have both. In fact, you'll find out that the convenience commercial, which is typically 7-Eleven, if they don't have gas, they intend to close 644 of them nationwide. It's already been projected. So today's world, it's evolving into a beautiful commercial building with a gas component and a full liquor license. And by the way, this estimated development is about a $6 million price tag. You're looking at the land, the building, that's about 4.5. The liquor license is 500,000. Now you got $5 million, and then you got $1 million in inventory minimum. So you got $6 million investment right off the top. Here, Mark, you can hang on to that. Let me just get the next shot here. Okay, this is our site plan. It shows you the entranceway on 26 and also on Shaner. The gas component goes east along Shaner. It doesn't protrude north towards Washington, nor south towards the individual lots. And again, I want to emphasize that upside-down L-shaped land is ours, and that land will stay as residential. Very important factor, because a lot of times people like to have land that's adjacent to commercial developments or gas stations, what have you. They like to have that buffer, and they call it multifamily. Classically, that's the fit. That's not our intention. I want to keep that as single-family as possible, and that's what we plan on doing. I've talked to developers to the west, if they wanted to buy it, add on to their property, make it all a large subdivision, or we'll keep it as a boutique development and single-family. This shows you our floor plan, well laid out by Mark. It's got the commercial convenience, the liquor section, and we anticipate the Dunkin' Donuts to come in there and be an amenity for that site. And then we modified, the next one is our landscape plan. Extensively modified it to address any concerns to the south. Now you have the landscaping, the wetlands, the woodlands, before you even get to the property line, which is well over 100 feet. And then you got all the perimeter landscaping that surrounds this site, encapsulates it, keeps it away from the view of all the future development to the west. It protects anybody from the north in Washington Township who can't see it anyway from their property, and then also for the east. And we anticipate with the new developments coming along Shaner, you're looking at about 1,500 houses coming here. And with that expanded road, this is going to be a major thoroughfare on Shaner, along with 26. And I talked to the road commission, that entire intersection is going to be reconfigured to meet that big traffic concern. So, and currently you have about 20,000 cars a day going along 26 Mile Road. It is the next Hall Road in the sense that we know it. This depiction here shows you the intense buffer that I talked about for the people that are to the south. And the next one, let's see. Next one's a photometric. It just shows you, Mark, how do you get rid of that? I keep hitting it, sorry. This is a photometric plan. For anybody that was concerned about lighting going on their property, it's all self-contained downward, and we have a photometric plan that totally complies with Shelby Township's ordinance. Then I've listed a variety of points of consideration on the last page. And let me hand this out so you can get a nice clear view of that landscaping plan and that buffer. It's a lot cleaner version than that that's on there. The last thing are points of consideration. I know I've covered quite a few, but you know, I built 2 stations already. This station is going to be even better than the other 2. It should be well received in our community. And our property remaining is 7.5 acres to the west, so we would be the most impacted by it. So we're going to make sure that it's minimal impact and it's great for the community. We certainly don't want to do anything that's going to damage our existing property. And I indicated that we have a high level of elevations here. Mark had prepared for this site, and it has that characteristic of a 2-story building, which is 25 feet, equivalent to a colonial or a split level. And it's very tastefully done. This, as I mentioned earlier, it's for all intents and purposes, this is a convenience commercial development. The only reason we seek from C1 to C2 is because to have the gas component, our ordinance requires it to be a C2 designation as well as a special land use. Well, I put this all together as a conditional zoning agreement, which locks you in. That means even though if we were fortunate to get the C2 designation, it's only for this specific use that we're presenting and none other. You can't change it around unless this board allows that to happen. So what you see is what you get. Very important aspect to keep in mind. So even though it has that C2 and special land use, this is really a commercial convenience. And the gas component will probably be about 30% of the actual sales that go on with this particular development. I already addressed the lighting, traffic. I had our traffic expert. He told us that we are not creating any new traffic. You're going to pull traffic from the road that that's already there on the road. About 76 to 78% of our traffic is coming from the cars that are already passing by. So we're not creating anything new. But that road system, when it gets improved, and 1,500 houses that come up, you're going to have a lot of traffic. So noise, traffic, lighting is non-existent. Property values are not going to be impacted. This property, you're separated by major roads, okay? Whereas our property is right next to it. So the main concern would be us, and we're not worried about it. But all those developments coming to the east side are not impacted whatsoever. And in fact, talking about commercial, the corner of the southeast corner was under consent judgment to allow for that commercial component and some 50 units of site condos. Let's see here. I want to point out that this is a gap development. It's not meant to be cannibalizing what you've approved under the consent judgment. That's a true strip center with a variety of units and a drive-through component. I don't want to put the same thing there, because then you're going to have some empty units. Ours is going to stand on its own, theirs will stand on its own. Ours has a different component with the gas and the liquor, so they would live cohesively and be good for the whole area, as opposed to be cannibalizing. Let's see. Well, I've covered quite a bit. One other fear that some of these residents had that were south about contamination, it's non-existent. These tanks today are double tanks. You have the tank itself, then you have another tank over that tank. And there's a monitoring system by the EPA, the state, and also Shelby Township. They monitor any type of runoff or spillage or anything. It's on a monitoring device. So it doesn't happen, and this is not anything new that's going to be brought to the site. Other than that, I think I've covered as much as I could, not trying to take up all your time. I know you've got a lot of people here. I really appreciate the time tonight and consideration. I'm trying to bring something to Shelby that I think would be excellent and well-received. I tried to be a little ahead of other people in developments. It's just my nature, and I've been watching this corridor for quite some time, and we're trying to get a jump start on what's inevitably going to be a commercial section. And we just think this product is perfect for Shelby. And again, I want to reiterate, I've never brought a bad deal to this township. Every one that I've had has been highly successful. You've got Palazzo Grande, Da Francesco's. I had a hand in all those, okay? Central Park, beautiful development. That nice big medical building on 23 in Shaner, that high-rise, I had a lot to do with that too, okay? And I want you to know that I'm very committed to Shelby Township. I'm devoted to this township. I live here. I want nothing but good things. I turned down a very lucrative contract when we bought Kmart's, okay, that U-Haul wanted it very badly. And I talked to a lot of the people here on this board. You wanted no storage. You didn't want to hear about it. I took the contract, had a sizable profit in it, ripped it in half and said, sorry, guys, we're not doing it. So I sacrificed a huge amount for the betterment of Shelby. And I'm doing the same thing here. We're putting a lot of money and investment, like I've done with a lot of other projects. And I think the right thing to do is have something like this, because it's not a bad project. It's a good fit for our community. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Would there be anyone else who would care to come up? This would be the time. Okay, then I will bring it up to the board for a discussion. Any discussion, board members? Any questions for Ms. Message? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, just 1 second, just to help a little bit here.
I'm sorry, we need to go to item number 1. I was ahead of myself. Thank you very much. Okay, so what I will do now is start with item number 1, which is the introduction for rezoning petition number 24-30, Michelle Churchill. Now, Ms. Message, I'll let you come up. Sorry. No, Miguel. I thought I said Miguel. No, I'm kidding. Thank you. I got that right, and I got that right, okay.
Okay, good evening, board members. The first item on your agenda for consideration is for Mr. Michele Churko with MJC Land Investments They are proposing a straight rezoning for 7 parcels located on the north side of 25 Mile, just west of Hayes Road. Some of those parcels are zoned R1, which is single-family residential, and also R1A, which is also single-family residential. They put together these 7 parcels. Total acreage is 58.30 acres, and they're proposing R1B rezoning to, for single-family residential as well. They're just a little bit smaller lot size. It's consistent with the master plan, and also we've approved some of the other developments that are in that immediate area as R1B single-family residential as well. I don't think there's anything more to say on this property. There's a pond on the site as well. They have proposed in your packets a site layout. We don't hold them to that site layout. They have to come back in the future with plans to develop that and configure the lot sizes, but that is just a preliminary sketch plan on how they intend to develop that property. With that being said, they are proposing, actually with that layout, 85 single-family residential units, which is 1.5 units per acre. If you notice, that's more in line with the R1A zoning district. R1B is typically 3 units per acre. So it's less, even though it's zoned R1B, they're seeking R1B, the units per acre is 1.5 instead of 3, so half.
And it looks like the Plan Commission voted for it unanimously.
That is correct. They held a public hearing on October 14th. 3 residents actually came up at that meeting, had concerns about property values and traffic. Those were addressed at that meeting, and 1 resident spoke in favor of that project.
Okay. Okay, board members, any questions? Otherwise, would someone like to make a motion?
Mr. Supervisor, I'll make the motion.
Mr. DeSico?
Or with the recommendation from the Planning Commission and introduce rezoning petition 2430 for Michele Chirco, MJC Land Investments, 14671, 14735, 14763, 15075, 25 Mile Road, 55465 Hayes Road, and 2 vacant parcels, number 230701 451 007, and 230701 451 012, and 230701 451 013, 230701 451 014, and 230701 476 001, and 230701 476 003, and 230701 476 018, located on the north side of 25 Mile Road, west of Hayes Road. Proposed rezoning from R1 and R1A one-family residential to R1B one-family residential based on the following. The R1B zoning classification is consistent with the predominant zoning pattern in the northeast quadrant of the community. The planned extension of sanitary sewers to this portion of the township supports an increase in density. The change is not out of scale with existing development patterns in this area of the township, and the change in zoning would provide a more uniform and consistent development pattern.
Support.
Motion made by Mrs. DeSico, supported by Mr. Vermeulen. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please. Mr. Groh?
Lucia DeSico.
Yes.
John Vermeulen.
Yes.
Vince Viviano.
Yes.
Jim Carabelli.
Aye.
Lisa Casali.
Yes.
Stanley Grout, yes, and Rick Steffikis.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr.
Thank you.
Supervisor.
Second item.
Okay, the next item is for conditional rezoning and site plan for Mr. Guy Rizzo of the RFT Group. This is for a parcel of property on the west side of Van Dyke, just north of 25 Mile. It is just over 5 acres. They are proposing 3 retail buildings, two side by side with the driveway down the middle, and 1 retail in the rear. Currently, the property is zone C1. They're proposing C2 with a special land use, and what triggers the special land use in this case is the drive-through on the south, the building towards the south. What happens is if a property is zoned C2 and it abuts a residential district, that's what triggers the special land use. In this case, the drive-through is not going to be a nuisance to the area because the building is along Van Dyke, and there is significant amount of property to help screen that drive-through from the residential property to the west. The one retail building is approximately, both retail buildings along Van Dyke are just over 8,000 square feet with 4 units per building. The rear building is approximately 10,300 square feet. And I believe that's going to be for one user maybe, or a multiple users? It's multi-user. Multi-user, okay. With that being said, it's supported by our master plan, and at the township, at the October 4th Planning Commission meeting, there was a public hearing. One resident, not one resident, one property owner actually came up to the meeting, and he just made a comment about cross-access, a clarification on cross-access, and that was it. There was no other issues with the site plan. They meet all the site plan ordinance and the special land use requests, and the Planning Commission approved it unanimously at their meeting on October 14th.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll bring it up to the board. Any discussion? Okay, Ms. Grow, can we do a roll call vote, please?
We need a motion.
Oh, who wants to do a motion?
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes, Ms. Casali.
thank you. I move to concur with the recommendation from the Planning Commission to introduce and approve conditional rezoning and site plan special land use application number 2427 for Guy Rizzo on behalf of RFT Group, 55133 Van Dyke Avenue, parcel number 230704476005, located north of 25 Mile Road, west of Van Dyke Avenue. Proposed rezoning from C1 local retail business to C2 linear retail business for a restaurant with drive-through, retail buildings, and office space based on the following. Number one, the proposed zoning is largely consistent with the existing zoning and development pattern along the Van Dyke Avenue corridor. Number two, the change in zoning would not adversely impact any abutting development. Number three, the change in zoning is not out of scale with the needs of the community. Number four, the proposed rezoning and land use does not adversely impact the public health, safety, and welfare of the residents, nor will it interfere with or discourage the appropriate development and use of adjacent land and buildings or unreasonably affect their value. Number five, the proposed use relates harmoniously with the physical and economic aspects of adjacent land uses. Number six, the submission of 8 copies of revised site plan is required, incorporating applicable review comments from the Planning Commission, Township Department, and engineers. And number seven, the applicant must seek review and approval for the requested variance to the screening and buffer requirements. The Planning Commission offers a favorable recommendation to forego the required decorative screening wall.
Support?
Motion made by Mrs. Casali, seconded by Mr. Viviano. Any discussion? Okay, Ms. Grow, please have a roll call vote.
Lisa Casali.
Yes.
Vince Viviano.
Yes.
Jim Carabelli.
Aye.
Lucia DeSico.
Yes.
Stanley Groth, yes. Rick Steffikis.
Yes.
And John Vermeulen.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay, thank you very much. And one more item for you.
All right, last but not least is Mr. Ruggieri's property that you just heard him speak about. I'm not going to go through the entire site plan as you've already heard it. I am just going to go over the zoning ordinance requirements, the master plan requirements, and so on and so forth. So at the October 14th Planning Commission meeting, they also held a public hearing. There were 11 emails that were received in opposition of the project. At the meeting, 5 people were present that spoke against the project, and 4 people spoke in favor of the project. The property in question is not supported by the master plan. Mr. Ruggieri is asking for a C2 with a special land use. With that, our master plan, back in 2017, we did an in-depth review of our master plan, and at that time, the master plan recommended some commercials at those intersections. However, it is C1, which is, that is the maximum, that is the highest and best use for that, recommended for that commercial. So Mr. Ruggieri is correct in saying that it is some sort of commercial, but not a commercial to that extent as for a gas station of that sort. As far as that goes, at that meeting, there was a motion to deny the Planning Commission. It was motion to deny, 5 were opposed, and 3 were in favor of the project. If there's any other questions from the board, I'd be happy to answer any other questions at this time.
Any questions, discussion?
I have a question. You know, when I look at this project and everything like that, and I put a lot of scrutiny when I see plans come up, I notice that Washington Township has a car wash closer to M53. It's not that far. And that's normally a C2 in our area with a special land use, correct?
That's correct, Mr. Vermeulen.
So that's one of the things I'm kind of concerned about, that I see that, you know, it's both our communities are kind of aligned in terms of, it's not aligned with what we have with C1. Some of the other things I looked at was the pattern of development that go on in our community. It seems like when you look at M59, we have a lot of gas stations. You know, you look all the way across the community, there's a lot of them there. Same pattern as across 23 Mile. And I'm very concerned about the possibility of defending this if we decided that we wanted to grant this project approval, whether or not we could defend our ordinances for if we make this change, if we can defend our ordinances in court, if somebody wants to make, say, residential at some point in the future to like a multifamily, which I know is detrimental. Now, as far as a gas station go, I actually did a lot of research in looking at this. I was on the phone to the assessor. The assessor was telling me, when I asked, I said, you know, there's a gas station that is right on the corner of 25 and Mound. That's not too far from my home. That's not too far from Mr. Carabelli's home. And Mr. Ruggieri had a project that came about right next to a friend of mine who owns a property that he invested over $1 million in. And the original thought was to make that apartment buildings. And Mr. Ruggieri decided that he was going to go ahead and build these single-family homes. And I checked for the sale prices of these, and these are $600,000 houses, $500,000 and $600,000 houses, and these are recent sales. So it shows there's a certain market for the property when there's a gas station. So it's pretty hard to say that there would be any detriment to the adjacent homeowners as to the property value. So I'm really kind of wondering, Mr. Hughes, what are your thoughts about if we granted this? Would we have a harder time in defending against multifamily?
So I think your question is, supposing that the property adjacent to it is somebody brings in an application for multifamily, we want to say no because it's not zoned that way. Would somebody be able to use the approval here of a commercial to help bolster their argument for multifamily nearby it? I think that's what you mean.
Yes.
Multifamily there.
Yeah.
Well, it would be a factor. I will say that the applicant did say that he was willing not to have multifamily there. I don't know, I'd have to brainstorm a little bit with our planning director, but it may be a way to commit that there's a covenant on that parcel that it's not multifamily, then that would solve your issue.
And that parcel to the west, we'd be willing to put a restrictive covenant on that. You know, it's hard to say. Reason why we have ordinances is to protect the homeowner's property value. And I put a lot of scrutiny into this, and that's the reason why I went to the extent that I did. I'm very concerned about that, but, you know, if somebody's willing to put on a restrictive covenant that they wouldn't be developing anything other than single-family homes, it shows that there's a demand for it.
He's shaking his head yes, so if you made the motion, you could go ahead and make that part of the motion. Would that be appropriate? Okay, if you make the motion, you can make that part of the motion.
Work with Mr. Hughes on the language. Right.
Yeah. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak on this?
Mr. Supervisor, I'd just like to make the comment that when I first saw the project, I thought it was a good fit because I see 26 Mile Road as a major thoroughfare from M53 to I-94, as well as Hall Road and 23 Mile Road. So that's how I view 26 Mile Road, and I thought this would be a good fit, although it would require slight rezoning. But that was my overall thought on the project.
You know, the other thing too is there's a berm on this, and that would minimize any type of, site issues by some of the residents, future homeowners of this gas station, if they don't care to see any traffic or maybe the light or the noise, and that would help too. There's going to be a significant barrier there, correct?
Anyone else?
Well, you did the development, you said at West Utica and Auburn,
Yes.
and the residential didn't have any problem there, correct?
Okay.
And there's a lot of residential around that area.
Yes.
And that's right next to M59 too, and that's very busy.
Okay, anyone else? Any questions? Other discussion? Okay, we'll go ahead and take a roll call vote.
I think we're gonna need a motion, on this first.
Right.
And if Mr. Vermeulen needs a hand, I could help, because some things have come up that we didn't anticipate.
Okay, but before that, I was going to say, I'm going to vote no on this, only because I don't think that 26 Mile Road I think it's got a long way to go before it's a Hall Road. I think it's not very mature enough for me. I'm talking about 26 Mile Road. So that's why I'm voting no. Okay, go ahead and help him out. Make the motion if you wish.
Is that what you'd like, Mr. Vermeulen?
I don't know, I'd like to hear from my other board members first.
All right, no, I'll wait till I'm called upon, if I'm called on.
Really?
Well, I mean, is there anyone
Is there a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Not yet.
No, but is there a language for a motion to,
Right, somebody needs-
other than what you got here?
The motion that you have is what was presented by the Planning Commission.
I see, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
That was denied.
Mr. Vermeulen would like to hear other opinions, if anyone has any.
Okay, after
Mrs.
looking at
DeSico?
the plan and after reading the comments and looking at everything from the meeting, I think that the plan has value, and I think it would fit in that area based on the surrounding development and what's coming to 26 Mile. I drive on 26 Mile a lot, so I do think it is becoming a lot busier.
Okay. What else would you like to hear, Mr. Vermeulen?
Anybody else? Lisa, do you have any more comments?
Nope, I've spoke my piece.
Okay.
I would be agreeable with the land, like you had the covenant in there about the residential.
Definitely, I want that covenant in there
So-
because I'm worried about having, something that multifamily which can change and, be detrimental, I think, to the community. These are single-family homes, and, Mr. Ruggieri, I don't think is going to want to harm his investment by offering the gas station only to cut his nose off to spite his face in terms of the investment.
Mr. Huth, how might that motion look if you included the residential piece that Mr. Vermeulen mentioned?
I would say initially, it looks like similar to what you have on your packet for suggested motion, but then we would add is the first number one, contingent on satisfactory documents prepared between the township and an attorney and the applicant to ensure that the property located in the southeast surrounding of it is bound by a restrictive covenant that prohibits multiple use residential.
Southwest.
Is it southwest?
Oh.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
We'll take the southeast, too.
Mr.
You own that, too, right? So let me ask you this. You want the term mutually agreeable in there somewhere?
No, I think it's got to be contingent on the township satisfaction that we accomplish the.
Got it.
What the applicant is seeking to do tonight.
Mr. Supervisor.
So I could, if you wanted, I could suggest a motion.
Yeah.
Are we ready to suggest a motion? I think we are.
I am.
Okay, go ahead and suggest a motion, please.
Somebody would move to permit the conditional rezoning and site plan special land use number 24-04, Phil Ruggieri, Shaner 26 Properties LLC, vacant parcel number 23-07-02-200-034, located on the southwest corner of 26 Mile Road in Shaner. Proposed rezoning R1 single-family residential to C2 linear retail commercial and special plan use for proposed gas station based on the following. One, that a satisfactory document is prepared between the applicant and the township attorney restricting the parcel to the southeast for any multiple family.
Southwest.
Did I
Southwest.
say the wrong thing again?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Southwest to multiple family use. Two, that the proposed change in land is consistent with the, yeah, I would say future development for the township. Those two reasons only.
I would make that motion.
Motion made by Mr. Viviano. May I have a second?
Support.
Seconded by Mr. Viviano. Seconded by Mr. Vermeulen. Okay, let's do a roll call vote, please. Unless there's any other discussion. Any other discussion or questions?
I would like to say that I understand this is contractual rezoning. So that's incorporated into this too, in addition to what the township attorneys come up with.
Okay, Mr. Grote, roll call vote, please.
I got a question for the attorney. Is contractual, is the proper word contractual?
You know, it didn't used to be, but we're allowed to use it now. There's
We
been
are,
a change.
okay,
Yeah.
because I know a while back we
We
were
weren't, you're right.
All right, Vince Viviano,
Yes.
John Vermeulen,
Yes.
Jim Carabelli,
Nay.
Lisa Casali,
Yes.
Lucia DeSico,
Yes.
Stanley Grote, yes, Rick Steffikis.
No.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, board members.
Yep. Okay, Ms. Misich, thank you very much for all you do. We appreciate that.
Thank you all very much.
Okay. Number 4, Mr. Huth, I understand there's an appeal of the certificate of zoning compliance that's before us this evening, something to do with the appeal for revocation, some kind of tobacco shop. Can you fill us in regarding this matter?
I will, thank you. This is a first look for the township that I can recall, but our building director, Mr. Tim Wood, is here to help tee up the situation. But what's happened is that Mr. Wood has reviewed reports from other departments here in the township, and based on that, revoked the certificate of zoning compliance for Flavors Smoke. Our statute our ordinance permits that entity to appeal here tonight. So if you agree to the format, Mr. Wood could explain the basis for his decision, and then you would ask the Flavors if they had any comments, and then they would make their case.
Okay, Mr. Wood, go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. Through the township's zoning ordinance, new businesses in our community are required to secure a certificate of zoning compliance. And as part of that process, the building and fire departments perform inspections, and the planning department verifies that the proposed use complies with zoning requirements. In June of 2022, an application for a retail store for the sale of tobacco products at 51350 Van Dyke was received. After the business passed the required inspections, a certificate of zoning compliance was issued for a retail smoke shop named Flavors on July 7th, 2022. More recently, upon receiving various complaints involving illegal activities at Flavors, the Shelby Township Police Department conducted a lengthy investigation. The results were forwarded to the township prosecutor requesting revocation. Shelby's Township's zoning ordinance 7.20I permits Shelby Township to revoke a certificate of zoning compliance. The revocation was authorized as the illegal activities confirmed by the Shelby Township Police Department are a violation of the conditions of the Certificate of Zoning Compliance. And so, on October 9, 2024, the revocation of the Certificate of Occupancy, Certificate of Zoning Compliance was issued. In addition, the Police Department, as part of their investigation, exposed several building and fire violations, including the construction of a humidor without permits and inspections as required. Detective Sergeant Sorbo of the Shelby Township Police Department is here and available to provide more details on their investigation. If we could invite him up.
Yes, please. Thank you for everything you do. We hear nothing but great things about
I
you.
wasn't prepared to come up, but just to kind of let you guys know, from the time of getting multiple complaints in the police station, we get them in various forms. We get a lot of anonymous ones, as well as we get some directed from various residents and you know, different means. With this investigation specifically, we received multiple ones over the course of the last year and a half. Specifically, the most recent one that we investigated was a concerned mother that discovered her 16-year-old had received what she believed to be THC marijuana vapes from the vape store in question. She even had a punch card that he had received on multiple occasions. He was hospitalized. He then advised her of where he had purchased them and came and made a formal written complaint at our department. We had already conducted various controlled UC buys at all over the township. We do them on a quarterly basis. They're not always complaint-driven, but when we do have complaints, we also do a complaint-driven one. Several citations were issued, and also just on random inspections of the property. Myself, along with another detective sergeant at the time, observed minors in the back. Some fled out the back when we showed up. We discovered that they had a couch, TV. It kind of looked like when you would see like kind of a gambling machine in the back. Some various things. At that time, we didn't take any enforcement action. We kind of advised them that, hey, we want to see businesses succeed here, but this is not going to be something that can continue. We want to see you be a successful business. We'll work with you whenever possible. And then we continued to kind of receive various complaints, even from road patrol that would drive by, see occupation late at night. That's where I contacted the ordinance department, and we kind of worked hand in hand with doing various, you know, observations of the place.
Great work.
Is there any other questions from anybody at this time?
Where's that located on Van Dyke?
What's that?
Where's it located on Van Dyke?
It's going to be on the, north east corner of 23 and Van Dyke. It's in the plaza kind of directly across from like Tim Hortons and Big B Coffee and that kind of place.
Wait. It's not that coffee shop, is it? Am I thinking of the, okay.
No, this is the actual flavored tobacco. It's, you know, various vapes and everything will be sold inside.
Got it. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. Yep. Thank you. Great work, by the way. Any other questions?
Can I help just for 1 second? Because we haven't done this before, so if Mr. Wood is completed,
Yes.
then we would ask now, is there anybody that wants to speak on behalf of Flavors?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Peter Torres. I'm the attorney for Flavor Smoke, and one of my clients, Miguel Hammy here, and the other owner, Nawar Khani. So one of the issues, first off, I just want to point out that we respect what the police do, and I know that they have a very difficult job. They want to make the community safe.
Excuse me, could you put the microphone just a little closer? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll speak a little louder, too.
Thank you.
What I was saying was that we respect what the police do, and I know my clients do as well. And the whole goal in all of this, obviously, is to make sure that the community's safe. And my clients are here because they are taking this extremely serious. You can see I have a 21-year-old gentleman here, another 25-year-old gentleman that have invested a significant amount of money in this building, $160,000. You can imagine at 21 years old and 25 years old how much money that actually is. They've committed no crimes. They've never been convicted of one crime. And so now what's happening is their business is being shut down based on this claim that a mother has come in and said, which I respect. I'm a parent, and the last thing we want to do is have children be given vapes and things like that. But as we know, it's a huge problem. It's not them. It's been a huge problem. So what the reliability of this is, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where this child received any of this vape or any of this other THC or whatever was inside of this. I have no idea. I also don't know why having a couch and some poker chips and a pool table in the back amounts to being shut down on a business. We'll tell you that if the issue is that there's a couch in the back of a business, it'll be removed. But if you look at the photos, this is a legitimate business. These gentlemen are making money. They're trying to support themselves. They're trying to support their families. They've never been convicted of a crime, ever, not once. Not for selling any drugs, not for selling any vapes, none of that. And you can bring the officers up here, and they'll tell you the same thing. So this claim that late at night certain things are happening, I understand it's a claim, and I respect that. That's what it is. It's a claim. And we're going to shut down a business. We're going to take money from these gentlemen's mouth and their family. And I just don't think it's right. I don't think it's due process. I think I'm asking you all to give them an opportunity, at least an opportunity to show that there's nothing going on here. So, you know, Miguel here is a good person. Noir is a good person, and they don't want this out in the community. So I'll tell you, if there's anything going on, they'll make sure that that's not happening anymore. If you're considering continuing a revocation, I'm asking that you maybe just suspend it for a couple months to see what's going on, rather than just completely revoke their ability to operate a business. You know, they have a lease with a landlord. This is going to completely bankrupt them and all the money that they've put into it. Thank you.
It would be okay right now if you have any questions or discussion. I do have one question. Do you think the vape contributed to this problem in any kind of way?
Which vape?
The vape that you're talking about.
The one that the police officer, first off, in response, I have no idea where that vape came from. Or you have a child that's telling a mother that they purchased it from somewhere. No idea. He didn't sell anything to anybody.
Was a vape purchased from you?
No, sir. We have no idea. We have no idea what this claim is. It could have been purchased from any one of the vape stores up and down Van Dyke, Mound, M59, anywhere.
But it was vape?
I don't know. I just know what the police are
Okay.
claiming. I have no idea what was in it. This is the first I've heard of this.
When you say in it, was it vape?
I have no idea. Again, I'm going based off on what they're saying, that there was a person, a mother that came in and made a claim, which I respect, for their children, but no idea where it was purchased from. There's no evidence of that. It's just a concerned mother that came into the police department.
And a mother made a claim that it was what?
That their child purchased a vape product.
Okay. From?
Apparently from them, but I don't know. I've never seen any evidence of that.
Okay. Any other questions?
Mr. Supervisor.
Yes, Mr. Grote.
How many warnings have you received? How many violations or warnings have this business received before you got here?
Let me just respond. I don't know if he's received any warnings. I know that they have been given 2 tickets. So I have never seen a warning. The first that we've heard of any of this was a letter that was a note that was on the door that said, you can't operate anymore. Now, full disclosure, there was a ticket that was given to Mr. Connie, which is in court, and has not been litigated, and no one's been convicted of anything.
Is it in court now?
It's in Shelby, yes, it's in the district
What were
court.
the tickets for?
One was for selling a vape, that there was a ticket that was given.
Same
Vaping
with the,
question?
Hold
the
on,
same
Mr.
one?
Viviano, go ahead.
I'm
is it
sorry.
the same one with the lady?
Right.
I have no idea. In fact, I don't know what they're referring to. I'd be speaking out of turn if I said it would be the same person, because it's just, I have no idea. I just know that there was a ticket that was given. We have not been in court. There has been no hearings on it. So whether or not it's true, untrue, whether or not it was him or, I have no idea. But
What was the other ticket?
I think it may have been selling a vape. I think there were 2 tickets given for selling a vape.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Grote, are you done?
No, not yet.
Go ahead,
not
go
yet.
ahead, okay.
Is there any gambling on the property?
No. There's no there's a claim that there were some poker chips in the back room, in a case. But there's never been any evidence ever. There's no charges ever filed for gambling. There's some suggestion of some video game. Now, I know there was some money back there, but there's nothing illegal about having money in a store. Why is that illegal? Why is that even an issue?
I don't think it is an issue. We can ask the officer when they conduct an investigation. One more question. Any fights on the parking lot?
Not
Any
that I-
fights inside?
Not that I know of, and there's never been a claim of that, and there's never been any tickets of any of that. Ever.
So there's never been
Hold
any.
on, Mr.
Yeah,
Viviano. Are you done?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Viviano, you're
Besides
next.
the tickets, you're saying there was no warnings ever? Or,
If, I know that there were tickets given, I am unaware of any actual warnings. Now, Miguel mentioned that there may have been a warning, but he may be confused regarding the actual ticket that was issued.
talking about tickets.
Right. So it was, generally speaking, just to answer that, normally there'll be, like at a gas station, okay? They just don't shut a gas station down right away. You sell, back when I was younger, well, just cigarettes, right? Warrant, ticket, cigarettes, ticket, cigarettes, ticket, cigarettes, ticket, right, to a younger person. This was 1, 2, 3, shut down. That's what happened.
so it's currently shut?
They're shut. This is why he's here. It's
How long has it been shut?
about a month.
Month and a half.
Right, and it costs them substantial amounts of money because of their revenue.
Mr. Vermeulen.
So there's been no adjudication by a court as to finding of guilt or responsibility then, is that correct?
0. Neither of these gentlemen have any criminal history at all. They've never been convicted of a crime. We haven't even had a hearing on it.
I do have a question. The question posed was, how many warnings were there? And you said 4, and then you made a comment that you thought we were talking about tickets. So in your mind, you thought you had 4 tickets. So did you have 4 tickets?
No, like the whole store with employees, we've gotten like 4 tickets in total in 2 years.
Okay, so you got 4 tickets in 2 years. Can you explain each of the 4 tickets?
Well, I don't know if I can explain it because sometimes I have employees there. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
I think what he's trying to say
Well,
is,
I'd like to hear from him.
sir, sure.
How you want me to explain it if,
Just tell me generally what the tickets were all about.
oh, selling to a minor.
Selling to a minor?
Yeah, an employee's probably sold to a minor. They bring someone in, and then after they come in and give you a ticket. They don't shut down the store.
Okay, so generally, there were probably 4 tickets selling to a minor
Yeah, within 2 years.
within 2 years. Any tickets before that?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, when you say selling to a minor, what are we talking about? Underage what?
Under 21.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Grote.
We have an enforcement officer here. Can Carol come up here? You probably got the most information on this issue, so.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Great idea. Thank you very much for coming up here and clarifying.
I do have,
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
I do have one question.
Yes,
One
Miguel.
more.
These employees who got your tickets who may have been involved in this, what did you do? Did you discipline them, or did you ask them for their side of the story? Did you
I had
fire
one
them?
guy, I fired him.
You fired them.
You fired all of them?
No, I had one person, I fired him. One of them is one of my younger cousins, so he stays with me.
So you did not
I
fire your
disciplined
cousin?
him, but one of them I fired him.
Okay, wait, hold on. So your cousin you fired or did not?
No,
Oh, you can't fire your cousin. Okay,
disciplined him.
got it. Okay, you disciplined him.
He
Got
could
it.
fire his cousin, but Christmas might not be the best.
Yeah.
I can clarify one thing really quick. Since my involvement with this back in November, and then I believe one was in May, and then the last one in October here, there were 3 separate citations issued, all for sales to minor. And the 3 that we issued, 2 were to the owner, and 1 was to the other owner. There was no other.
Okay, back up. 2 of them were directly to the owner.
All 3 of the last citations that we've issued were to both owners that are here present. There was no other employee at that time that was issued any citations to minors. Each time that we cited them, we explained to them, hey, this is going, you have to stop, you have to check IDs. They say they understood. And like I said, we got numerous more complaints after each one that drove us to the next one. Up until the point, too, where, like I said, we get complaints every single day. We've gone and conducted various operations using undercovers or using, minor children that we sign up as a UC with an adult that's willing to let them do that. In the course of these investigations, we sometimes have obviously compliance where they check IDs and we don't get sales.
Got it.
With those, even as early as last week, we did one in the area of 25 in Van Dyke off a complaint. They checked ID, they said, we go in after and say, hey, good job, you didn't sell. We are conducting these so that they're aware that they're doing a good job and also to support that. And they said, we've had a ton of influx, all labeling out flavored tobacco with the same source. And like I said, for the mother one, I know that they had some confusion on how we got drawn to that. He said this, and I know that their lawyer's trying to explain that where these kind of things come from. He had the specific punch card that he provided and said, this is where I got it. They punch this card every time and you get something at the end of it. When we conducted our last one, when the revocation occurred, they had the same punch card. He punched it when the UC went in there and came back out and said, hey, we have a sale. It was all controlled, observed by us. And at that point, we went in. To speak on the back room, I know that they talked about the couches. When we went there the first time and we had minors sprinting out the back, they had what I would describe as like a fish game that we've seen at a lot of the lounges where we've had gambling. So there was no investigation into the gambling. I basically at that time told them that's not okay to have there. It looks like you're having gambling, but we're just trying to get you up to compliance and have you be a supportive business. The last time we went in, that was now switched to a pool table. And like I explained to them, what this shows, there's alcohol on premise, there's a fridge, there's a barbecue, there's an Xbox set up to a couches. The front store is the front store. The back can be used for an employee, but what we're seeing with the traffic in and out and everything else from observations, that this is used more as like a hangout and a lounge and everything else going on top of the complaints that were already generated from the criminal perspective. And I can't speak for the last one, but like I said, the other citations, I don't know what they were taking care of in court because they are issued by an officer that shows up. But I know that there was all 3 issued to these people that are here today.
Excuse my ignorance, but what's a fish game?
It would be like kind of similar to when you go to a casino, what I would describe as like the touchscreen games that they have sometimes where people are gambling. This would be like a flat one where 4 or 5 people can sit around it and they put money into it. Or in terms of, like what I see there is it would just show credits. It wouldn't show actual money. That's why we didn't do the gambling investigation. But they can sit there around a table, 4 to 5 individuals, and play a game where they acquire points.
Is it like aggravation without batteries?
I'm sorry, with what?
I have no idea what.
Michigan Gaming Board says they're illegal gaming machines. I have an actual pamphlet from them.
But like,
Those are
yeah, and just to speak though, and like I said, I'm trying to keep this, I know we don't want to.
Okay, that's okay. I don't
debate
need
back
to
and
need
forth,
more than
yeah, we
that.
just don't.
But anyway, it's gambling.
Yeah, it shows an indication of possible gambling and/or entertainment where you would have multiple people on premise, not just an employee.
Okay. Ms. Carol Subter, would you like to come up? And I'd like to hear from you.
When we were in there executing the revocation, there was a young man who tried to approach, and the officers ID'd him. He was 14 years old, and he admitted to being a frequent customer there.
Wait, I'm sorry. He admitted to what?
To being 14 years old and a frequent customer of Flavors. And every time Nawar needed to go in there, I would go sit outside so he could enter the building and do whatever he needed. And I have photographs. and they look like high school kids, backpacks and whatever, going in and out, or trying to get in the building while Nawar was in there doing whatever business he needed to do.
Now, when you say a frequent customer of vaping, of flavors, you mean vaping?
That's what the 14,
I know we're kind of getting a little bit into the, kind of just opinions or whatever else. Based on me being aware of what's going on in the township, talking to both school resource officers, they hear about stuff, they catch individuals with vapes. And like I said, some kids can lie and just say, hey, I got it from whatever. We've also got complaints from parents. This is becoming, and the reason that we kind of went with this revocation is to try to slow this down, is we gave them opportunities, and it doesn't seem like they're changing what they're doing, but we're hearing from the high schools that this is the place to go get it. This is the place to go get it. And now, since shutting it down temporarily, pending this hearing, we're still hearing it that other places are now saying, oh, I got shut down there, so now I'm trying to buy here and getting turned away when they're doing the right thing. So I know that that's a lot of just hearsay, depending on, if we were in court, but at the same time, it's a big indication from, I live in the township, and like I said, from talking to our SROs in the schools, when they're saying this is the place to go, and we can sit there, and every single time we went there, there's been a sale, even after educating them and kind of trying to tell them, hey, check IDs, that's all it's going to take to not have an issue. We have that. And then, like I said, on top of that, there's a rule, there's a reason that they go to court for that. But it's also the use of the building as kind of more than just a sale of vapes. It's also used now for whatever's going on in the back, recreational-wise, that we don't have eyes on and that we can't technically prove without getting somebody in there, which would be difficult based on them being the two owners and utilizing it with their friends.
Okay. Any other questions? Would you like any further comments, sir? Please. Yeah, go ahead, of course.
I don't want to get in the weeds.
No,
here.
there's no time limit here.
Oh, I just don't, again, I don't want to litigate.
Wait, you said something about weed?
I don't want, no, I don't want to get in the weed. I don't want to
okay,
get in the
okay.
weeds. Not the weed. But one of the two things that he said was opinion, right? It's his opinion, right? And hearsay. Okay, so, and I'm not here to litigate anything, but again, there's a proper procedure for it. They've been convicted of nothing. We're here shutting a business down. I respect what the police do. I respect what the township does. And I respect the fact that we need to make our township safe, right? But just closing a business down without any adjudications whatsoever and just claims by kids in high school, I think is not due process. I don't think it's appropriate. And I'm hoping that this council can see through that. I don't think you're going to have a problem with them ever. It's been a month and a half. That's where we're at. He's been convicted of nothing.
Mr. Hughes?
Go ahead, Mr. Vermillion.
Mr. Hughes, I got a question for you. With this, what they're accused of and everything like that, and this potential revocation, they've invested well over $100,000, maybe more than that. If we try to revoke their license without any type of adjudication, wouldn't that subject the township to potential payouts and litigation?
Well, no, we're having a process now, we're having a hearing now, so they're having their due process. The standard isn't criminal beyond a reasonable doubt. We're not in a criminal court. We're just asking people to comply with our certificate of zoning compliance. They don't have a right to that, like they may have a legal right to be refrained from going to jail. So I would not think there's any liability for the township. We are going above and beyond here by giving them every opportunity to say their side of the story. We've asked them to even come up and say it again. So I don't see that.
And I do appreciate the ability to come up here and make this claim. Because at the end of the day, this is a business and they're going to pay their taxes and they're paying their rent.
We know that.
And they're supporting their family.
Yeah.
So I just hope that the council can see through the couch in the back room and have a refrigerator.
I just want to say something here. I wrote this down. You said it's a bunch of kids in high school. I don't think it's just kids in high school. It's our enforcement officer. It's at least one mother, maybe more, and it's our police department that we have a lot of respect for. I mean, these guys work hard, and they are on it, and it's one of our best people right here.
I agree with that.
So there's a lot of reasons why we should vote for this tonight. And so I mention that now before you sit down. What say you about what I've just said?
No, I agree with that. The Shelby Township Police Department, they're good police officers. They do a great job for Shelby Township. I know that. I deal with them all the time, and I'm not discounting what he's saying up here. I'm just, let's think about what we're doing to a business. And I'm hoping, and if the council would, if the council's leaning one way, maybe towards a 2-month suspension, I would ask for, and then allow them to reopen, redo it again, and maybe there won't be any issues in the future. These guys will be more diligent to make sure that certain people don't walk into the store, and they check every ID. They're here, they're serious about it. Otherwise, they would have just left and went somewhere else, and to a different city and opened up another business. But they've invested a lot of their money, and at 21 and 25, to invest $160,000, it's a lot. I'm hoping you can consider that.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything that anyone else would like to say before we bring it up for more discussion? Anything? Board members, do you have any more questions?
Mr. Hoot, is there a licensing involved in state licensing for this kind of operation?
Tobacco license, I have to say that don't know the answer to that.
I think sales tax license?
Sales tax license, that may be, yeah.
Any other questions or discussion? Yeah, I definitely am going to vote to deny this appeal. I mean, I think you raised some really good arguments, everybody, but at the end of the day, these are our kids, our own police department. We're not talking about one violation, we're talking about several. Our enforcement officer, she's been very diligent on this case, and she does superb work. At least one mother, perhaps more, and we're talking about numerous violations, and we're talking about numerous, I guess you would call them violations, and what was the other term?
Warnings?
Warnings, yes. What else can we do? And then when you have the schools saying they know where these kids, or at least alleging they know where this is coming from, boy, I think you've been given a lot of chances. I do. So that's going to be my vote. You're free to speak, members. Otherwise, we'll take a roll call vote.
We need a motion, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Who wants to make this motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move to deny the appeal of Flavors regarding the revocation of the Certificate of Zoning Compliance.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Carabelli, seconded by Mrs. Casali. Roll call vote, please.
Jim Carabelli? Lisa Casali?
Yes.
Lucia DeSico?
Yes.
Stanley Grout, yes. Rick Steffikis?
Yes.
John Vermeulen?
Yes.
And Vince Viviano?
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay. Thank you for coming in. And thank you all from Shelby Township for great work. Thank you very much. Okay. Number 5, the Clinton River Water Main Crossing Replacement. This next item is placed on our agenda at the request of DPW Director Mrs. Daniel Allen. In 1965, the township initially installed a water main crossing under the Clinton River that connects the southeastern corner of the township to a larger distribution center. Our township DPW director and engineers now believe it's time to replace this water main crossing before it suffers any damages due to its age. That we are asked to consider a proposal from our township engineers, AEW, to begin the process to design and eventually receive bids to construct the improvement. Ms. Ellen, I see you're here. Do we get that correct? Okay. Would someone like to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Vermeulen.
we do concur with the recommendation of DPW Director Danielle Ellen and authorize township engineers Anderson, Eckstein, and Westridge Incorporated, AEW, to perform necessary design services, including wetland investigation permitting for the installation of a new water main under the Clinton River in the amount of $54,000. Funds are to be taken from water and sewer fund reserves.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Vermeulen, and I was talking to Mr. Huth, who was supporting it, supported by Mr. Viviano. Any discussion? All those in favor, roll call, no roll call vote?
Roll call, necessary.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 6, Shelby Township Rochester MOU. This would be the water facility. This matter gives us great pleasure tonight to discuss. We know that the township's installation of the water storage reservoir will save our water customers millions of dollars in the coming years. Actually, it already has. The $3.5 million or 3.5 million gallon facility also saves the city of Rochester money as well. Some of those residents are served by our water system. Our DPW director, Ms. Danielle Allen, along with our former DPW director, David Miller. By the way, how's he doing? He never gave me his cell phone number, so I can't even contact him anymore. But anyway, the both of you have done a great job on this, and I know you're working closely with him. You negotiated an arrangement with the city of Rochester to reimburse Shelby Township for the cost to construct the reservoir. If approved tonight, the township will receive $891,000 over the next 6 years to help defray the costs spent by our DPW to build the reservoir. Danielle, did I get that correct? Okay. Who would like to make a motion?
Mr. Supervisor?
Yes, Mr. Viviano.
I'd like to concur with the recommendation of DPW Director Danielle Allen and request the Township Supervisor and Clerk to enter into this memorandum of understanding between the Charter of Shelby Township and the City of Rochester pertaining to capital contributions for the water storage facility within Shelby Township.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Viviano, seconded by Mrs. DeSico. And I just want to say, great job on this. I know you didn't do this one overnight, and I'm glad that we got the agreement done. This is a home run. And now it's going to save us even more money than the millions we've already saved. So this is good stuff. Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is a request for proposal approval. This would be the single waste hauler. Now, as you know, we have a 10-year contract that's going to be expiring next year. This is for our waste pickup. Ms. Allen, I understand that you and the Solid Waste Committee, and Lucia DeSico, you're on that committee as well. I know you work very hard, but you've been very busy regarding this next issue. Our contract with a single waste hauler serving our community, as I said, expires on July 1st, 2025. It is essential to explore competitive options, and tonight we begin that process by issuing a request for a proposal so that the township may receive cost-effective, efficient, and environmentally responsible waste management services for our residents. With board approval, we will post RFP on the township's website and the Michigan Intergovernmental Trade Network. And the Solid Waste and Recycling Committee plans to return to the board with a recommendation of a new contract in March of 2025. You want to add anything, Mrs. DeSico? I know you work really hard with this committee.
Well, I will say the committee worked very hard. I know between Charlie, Marcia, and with Pam Merle just working on this, and then input from Danielle, it was definitely a group effort, and they did a lot of heavy lifting on this.
Good. And good job to you, too. I know you're being humble, but you put a lot of time into this as well. Thank you very much. Okay.
Mr. Charlie Jackson is hidden behind the top 10 priorities.
Where
but,
is he? I can't see him.
Honestly.
He's there.
Oh, there he is.
He is.
Hello. I didn't see you the whole night. It's because of this board. I didn't even know you were there.
He has spent a tremendous amount of time.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you all. Nice job. Okay. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, who would like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Mrs. DeSico?
I make the motion to authorize the DPW Director, Danielle Allen, to issue a request for proposal for a single hauler waste program as presented by the Solid Waste and Recycling Committee, and if approved, post it on the Shelby Township website and Michigan Intergovernmental Trade Network.
Support.
Motion made by Mrs. DeSico, seconded by Mr. Vermeulen. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Can we,
Whoa, hold on.
can you have a roll call for that?
Hey, if you want a roll call, do a roll call. Go ahead.
Lucia
DeSico?
DeSico, yeah,
Yep.
Lucia DeSico,
Yes.
John Vermeulen,
Yes.
Vince Viviano,
Yes.
Jim Carabelli, Lisa Casali,
Yes.
Stanley Groat, yes, and Rick Steffikis.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Thanks again, everybody. We appreciate the good work. Thank you. Okay. Next is a DPW building repairs. It's been a busy night for you, Ms. Ellen. You have noted with this next item that the Township DPW building has been experiencing leaks throughout many areas of that building. That building has been nothing but trouble. How old is that building? 25 years. And you know, when you sit at the conference table, it's just noise. You hear the wind. Even when there's no wind, that stuff goes up and down, and I don't know how you guys deal with that, but somehow you got to glue that down too so we don't have that noise. I don't know if you can do that. But anyway, you, along with our Township Engineers, AEW, prepared a request for a proposal to fix the issue. This is a water issue now, not the noise issue. In response to the request, the township received 6 bids, and I see that after interviews with you and township engineers, you're recommending that the contract be awarded to the bidder. Is it Helcomb Contracting? Okay. Who would like to make a motion? Mr. Viviano?
I'd like to concur with the recommendation of DPW Director Danielle Allen and award the contract for DPW building repairs to Holcomb Contracting LLC. Microphone, please.
Microphone. You want to start over again, Mr. Viviano? Sorry.
Yes, I'd like to concur with the recommendation of DPW Director Danielle Allen and award the contract for DPW building repairs to Holcomb Contracting LLC at a bid cost of $561,369.29. Construction administration to Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick, Inc., AEW, at a cost of $33,600, and a construction contingency of $28,000 for a total not to exceed $622,969.29. Funds are to be taken from the Water and Sewer Fund reserves.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Viviano, seconded by Mrs. DeSico. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, the 911 upgrade. Here, our police chief is asking us to reconsider a motion from the past February. At issue is a cost for our 911 call handling infrastructure solution that's provided by, is this an acronym, ATOS, or is that ATOS, or what is that? Vince, you know?
I think it's ATOS.
Okay, ATOS. Anyway, the motion should reflect a new upfront cost of $125,891 and an annual cost of $104,045. The term of the contract is for 6 years. And you know, before we go into this, our treasurer, Jim Carabelli, brought up a great idea, and we need to do this. His idea was that any contractual costs that we have on an annual basis, we need to capture those so that we know, because that is non-discretionary money that we can't use anymore, to your point. So if it's a 10-year contract, we need to capture that so we know how many of these term contract dollars that we're obligated to spend. I think that's a great idea, and we're going to talk to Ellen about getting that done. So I know it's got nothing to do with this, but this would be a candidate for your idea. Okay, great. And folks, that's why he's a treasurer. Okay, who'd like to make the motion?
Mr. Supervisor?
Mr. Viviano.
Motion to amend the motion approved on 2/6/24 and concur with the recommendation of Police Chief Robert J. Schlide and approve the purchase of the ATOS 911 call handling infrastructure solution with a one-time cost of $125,891.27 and an annual licensing and maintenance fee of $104,045.50 for a 6-year period. Funds are to be taken from the 911 Emergency Response Fund, line item 261-306-857-000.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Viviano, seconded by Ms. DeSico. Any questions, discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is a Community Relations Building. Board, thank you for considering this next item regarding improvements on a campus as well as the improvement. This is in respect to the Community Relations Building. We are asked to consider proposals from AKA Architects. Additionally, it would work with Township Engineers Nowak and Fraus, which has submitted a proposal for professional land surveying, civil engineering, and landscape design services relative to the municipal campus. Among the goals of this project would be to construct a community relations building and community band shell. And I just want to say before someone makes a motion, Julie Missage, Lisa Casali, and Lisa Suda, our HR director, they have done just a wonderful job bringing this together, and I think finally getting this not quite across the finish line, but very, very close. And this will be a big step in the right direction, correct? So, anyway, who would like to make the motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Casali?
I move to concur with the recommendation of Human Resources Director Lisa Suda, Board Trustee Lisa Casali, and Director of Building, Planning, and Development Juliana Misich Russwer to authorize an additional service fee of $41,300 from Auger Klein Aller Architects Incorporated for the new Community Relations Building on the municipal campus grounds and campus improvements. Funds are to be taken from PDDC and Campus Infrastructure Fund, line item 436-265-985-000, and amend the budget accordingly.
Support.
Motion made by Mrs. Casali and seconded by Mr. Vermeulen. Yeah, I always tell Mrs. Casali I really appreciate her being on this board because she works full-time, but she only gets paid part-time. Thank you very much. Yeah, we appreciate you. We appreciate all of you. Okay, so any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, motion passes. Next, number 11, ordinance number 301, electronic bike ordinance. Mr. Huth, I understand you've had the opportunity to work with the clerk's office on this, as well as the police department?
Yes, sir.
So you want to take it from here?
Yes, correct. This ordinance is in response to a new phenomenon that we've all seen, and that is bicycles that are propelled by some way with electrical charge. This ordinance takes a look at where we are going to allow those bikes to be used. Are they permitted on a paved pathway, a sidewalk, or something for just its gravel in our township? So working with enforcement and looking at some national trends and such, this ordinance puts the bikes in 3 different classes based on how much power they have, and then indicates where those bikes can be used within our township. So I think it's a good fit, and actually our office learned a little bit of something regarding the process going through this, and we might have to amend one we did for another community now that we understand it a little better, but I think this is a good product and easy for all to understand and enforce, so I ask you to consider it tonight.
You know, it's amazing how things have evolved. I'm not going to go back to my childhood, but boy, the bikes we used to ride, depending on how strong our legs were, you know, now you got gas engines, is that what these are?
Well, they're electric and they.
Electric?
Yeah, electric.
Okay.
But they don't have any baseball cards in the spokes like you used to have probably.
Yeah, you're funny. I still want to know what that fish game's all about, though. I'm curious. Anyway, okay, baseball cards, you're funny. How about the bubble gum, right? Yeah, Jim. Oh, okay, yeah, we need to move along, so
I'll make
any
that
questions? Would somebody like to make a motion?
I will, sir.
Go ahead.
To introduce and publish for the first time ordinance 301 and ordinance to amend Chapter 50 of Code Ordinances to regulate the operation of Class 1 and 2 electric bicycles upon non-road paths or trails within the township and prohibit the use of Class 3 bicycles upon the trails within the township and provide penalties, repealer, and severability.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Viviano, supported by Mrs. DeSico. Helmets, are they required to wear helmets?
No.
No? Okay. Any questions?
I would like Mr. Huth to go over the differences between the different types of classes of.
I was going to ask the same question, if I could have a copy of the ordinance emailed to me.
You can.
Then, the new one, this one?
Could you just mail it out to the board?
Yeah, would you prefer that?
I just wanted to the public
I could just say
understands.
quickly, a Class 1 bike is one that, that has assistance with the rider and it only can go up to 20 miles an hour. Class 2 is a little more meat, and it can go 20 miles an hour without the driver, without the bicycle helping. And Class 3 is the most heavy duty, and that is one that would be capable of going all the way up to 28 miles an hour with no assistance from the rider.
So you're talking, so
Sticker
basically, for the public's sake, the reason why we're looking at this, class 3 is because it creates a potential hazard between pedestrians and other bicyclists between the difference in speed that may be encountered, injuries that could happen, correct?
Exactly. So the ordinance tends to, if it's more likely to have somebody walking and there be less ability to control, then you want to keep the faster bikes off there.
Well, on those pathways, you're not supposed to go over a certain amount of miles per hour.
Correct.
With
That's
the
why.
MOT, they're supposed to be at 15 miles per hour, even a guy riding a bike. Many times they go a lot faster, and
Okay,
people
so-
are getting ran over.
So if you're not allowed to go faster than
You're not
50,
supposed to, there's no way of enforcing it, but
but if you're not supposed to, how is this ordinance going to help if we're saying class 3, you can do 35 or whatever?
Well, because the class 3, actually, they only have 750 watts. Am I thinking of the right thing? Watts? Yeah, 750 watts. So the manufacturer would not allow them to go faster than that anyway.
But it's-
But we say we don't want those, as Mr. Viviano says,
I
we
see.
don't want them on the.
and it's just like the user. So that user shouldn't be taking it up that fast. It's just like the guy pedaling the bike.
Yeah.
Now, those guys that really ride the bike,
I'd
they're riding
imagine,
fast, they're at 25 to 28 miles an hour. They should be riding on the road, not on the trail.
I'd imagine too that, Parks and Recreation, with all the beautiful trails that we have in the township, I think Parks and Rec should be concerned because with the faster bikes, you could end up putting a lot of damage on our excellent trails.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Vince Viviano,
Yes.
Lucia DeSico,
Yes.
Stanley Grout, yes. Rick Steffikis,
Yes.
John Vermeulen,
Yes.
Jim Carabelli, Lisa Casali.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Next, the township is seeking to approve a resolution that's been provided by the Department of Natural Resources. At issue is the fact that there has been concern regarding hunting activities here in sections 1 and 2. As a township, that would be between 25 and 26 Mile Road and between Shaner and Hayes. As a township continues to grow, it has observed the residential construction in our sections of our township that has caused us and the DNR to reconsider the hunting rules there. So tonight, we are asked to consider an amendment to the rules regarding hunting in those sections in our township. Motion, please.
I have a question.
Sure.
So is that with bow in that area?
So,
Not slug.
yeah, you could now, in those areas, you could hunt with a crossbow,
Right.
so long as one of two conditions are met. You own 3 acres, or you have permission from people that own collectively 3 acres.
But not a slug?
Can't use a slug,
You can?
right, or a shotgun,
Can't.
correct. As it stands now, you can,
You can, okay.
yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Whew. Any other discussion?
So you would still be able to use the bow and arrow, though?
Yep, yeah.
Got it.
You're right.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Who'd like to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes. Mr. Vermeulen?
I move to approve the resolution advising Michigan DNR, Department of Natural Resources, that the Charter Township of Shelby approves the recently enacted hunting control rule 50-24-002 issued by the DNR. The motion also includes the township's intent to adopt a local ordinance amendment that implements Rule 50-24-002.
Support.
Seconded, okay, so, motion made by Mr. Vermeulen, seconded by Mr. Viviano. And congratulations on the 2 deer you got, right? That's why it's easy for you to make the motion tonight. No. But anyway, any discussion, questions? Okay, roll call vote, please.
John Vermeulen,
Yes.
Vince Viviano,
Yes.
Jim Carabelli, Lisa Casali,
Yes.
Lucia DeSico,
Yes.
Stanley Grout, yes. Rick Steffikis.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Okay, I believe we've got one more here. This would be the ordinance 302 hunting and firearm amendment. And Mr. Huth, as I understand it, you have some information on this?
Yeah, correct. So what you've done now is, your previous motion, you adopted the DNR's rule regarding activities can go on in sections 1 and 2. So their rule's adopted. Now you're asked to make that the same rule for our ordinances, so our police can enforce it. So this adoption would just be mirroring what you just did in the previous motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Vermeulen?
I move to introduce and publish for the first time ordinance 302, an ordinance to amend Chapter 46, Article 6, offenses against the public safety regarding hunting and firearms used in the township, prohibiting the discharge of firearms and limiting hunting with only archery equipment on private parcels of land not less than 3 acres for repeal or severability, penalties, and effective date.
Support?
Motion made by Mr. Vermeulen, seconded by Mr. Viviano. Any discussion? We probably need a roll call on this.
John Vermeulen,
Yes.
Vince Viviano.
Yes.
Jim Carabelli. Lisa Casali.
Yes.
Lucia DeSico.
Yes.
Stanley Grote, yes, and Rick Steffick.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, great. Okay, well, that concludes our agenda. Now we'll move to township announcements. We'll start with you, Mr. Viviano.
The Shelby Township Hall Giving Tree. Residents can visit shelbytownship.org/Christmas.
Thank you all for
To access
coming.
the Giving Tree, Amazon wish list, and purchase items for the Samaritan House Food Pantry, which operates with 15 churches in Shelby Township and other nearby communities. Wish list items are shipped to Township Hall and delivered to the Samaritan House in January. Residents may also purchase items and place them under the Township Hall Christmas tree at 52700 Van Dyke Ave. The collection runs through December 20th.
Okay,
Great
great.
cause.
Thank you very much. Mrs. DeSico.
Okay, I've got 2 of them. The first one is Shelby Township's biggest Christmas event in tradition. The annual Christmas Aglow and tree lighting will be brighter than ever this year. December 6th at 6 p.m. at the Shelby Township Municipal Grounds. Attendees can savor the atmosphere with horse-drawn wagon rides, meet and greet with a real reindeer outside the library, sip hot cocoa, roast marshmallows, shop by the Kris Kringle craft tent, check out the Holiday Express train display, and enjoy holiday melodies courtesy of the Utica High School Choir. And my second announcement is that the yard waste collection will end on December 13th. So yard waste consists of leaves, lawn cutting, shrubs, and tree trimmings.
Thank you very much, and I just want to congratulate you and the DDA for the Christmas Aglow coming up. It is going to be as spectacular, or maybe even more spectacular than last year. And I know that you and the DDA have put a lot of work into it, so we're really excited about that. Mr. Carabelli.
Yes, sir. 2 announcements. First, winter tax statements will be issued on December 1st, and they'll be payable without penalty all the way until February 28th of 2025. Second announcement is very unfortunate that recently an email was sent out to a resident, a taxpayer here in Shelby Township, a homeowner, and it came from the Shelby Charter Township Revenue Department, which we do not have here in Shelby Township, attempting to collect unresolved balances associated with their property. The Treasurer's Office does not send out any emails whatsoever for any bills on anything. So I ask you, please don't click on these things. I couldn't even forward this on to the IT department after he had sent it to us. So there's some bad players out there, and I just please remember that the Treasurer's Office does not send out any emails with bills or anything whatsoever like that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Grote.
Yes, just lots of thank yous for November 5th presidential primaries election is behind us. I want to thank all my staff doing outstanding work. Election workers, which is about close to 350 people on election day and prior to early voting, and also the voters. Voters came out in droves. Voters participated in this election. They, and I got some statistics for you, and they are just huge numbers. We have 66,970 registered voters. Out of those voters, 49,925 voted. That's 75% turnout. That's huge. These are huge numbers, and of course, these people had to be processed. Early voting, election day, and AV voting. But I just want to thank everyone. Great job, and it's a huge undertaking to run this election. Everything has to click on election day. It's the workers, it's the equipment, it's the software. Everything has to come together. As a matter of fact, we got some workers in the back there. Nancy and Richard Monk is there, and Angie is there. My deputy, Craig, Laura is sitting here. She's clapping everyone out, but you're a big part of it. So
Hey, good job, guys.
thank you very much. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, no, it's a great job. I know when my wife and I voted, there were probably 30, 40 people ahead of us. We thought we'd be there for at least a half hour, and it moved quickly. 10 minutes, we were out of there. So good job doing that.
Nancy.
That early voting really worked out well. So expensive, but it worked out well. Okay, Mrs. Casali?
Yes, I have a few announcements. St. Karen's is having a live nativity on Thursday, December 12th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. It's a drive or walk through. There will be live animals, free cookies and hot cocoa, photo opportunity with St. Nicholas, and more. You can sign up to volunteer. There's a QR code. You can go to their website and find out more information. And also, the Shelby Township 15th Annual Jingle Ball Run is on Sunday, December 15th, 2024. It's a 5K run or walk starting at 9 a.m. at Riverbends Drive. Registration can be done at Burgess Shadbush Nature Center, and proceeds for the event go to the Special Olympics, Penricton Center, Cattail Acres, Canine Stray Rescue, and Great Lakes Burn Camp. That's all I have.
Okay, Ms. Casali, thank you very much. Mr. Vermeulen?
Yes, it's that time of year again, and it's time for the Toys for Tots collection. The Shelby Township Police Department and the Shelby Township Hall and the Shelby Township Activity Center are collecting new toys. You can drop off your gifts in the Toys for Tots collection boxes from 8:30 to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday at Township Hall and the Activity Center, or 247 at the Police Department. The collection runs until December 5th. Let's try to make this a better year for all the kids.
Okay, thank you very much. I see you got the box out here too for, and I hope we have another good year of giving. We always do. I just want to throw out a great job done by the community relations. Everybody should have gotten this Fountain magazine, actually, I think a few days ago. But it's got everything happening here in Shelby Township. It comes out, I think, every other month. And it's got our top 10 priorities, and it's got everything about the Aglow. And I want to mention one more time, the Christmas Aglow, as Mrs. DeSico mentioned, is at 6 p.m. December 6th, right here on campus. So I hope you all are able to attend. And as I said, this is just a great publication. I also want to congratulate Community Relations, or Shelby TV, for having the best government access TV station in the United States of America. We actually won first place, third year in a row. Unbelievable. You know, it's great when you win once, but when you win 3 years in a row, this is the whole country. And there are hundreds and hundreds of government stations that apply for this. So way to go, Community Relations. You guys are doing a great job. Okay, on that note, we'll go to business from the floor. We conduct township business here consistent with the way a business meeting is handled. Here, each speaker will be allowed up to 3 minutes to discuss business that's relevant to the operation of our terrific township. Is there anyone who would like to come up? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Lisa, for announcing the Nativity. I was at that meeting, and this is a great event. I'm on the committee. There's a live camel, so it's free. They take an offering, but it's free. So a couple things. The thought of 26 Mile becoming M59 sounds horrible, and I'm sure everybody in here cringed when he said that it's going to be M59 one day. So I just want to reiterate that as a citizen, that sounds terrible. The smoking thing that you guys, I'm glad you turned that guy down. It's a $100 fine from the state of Michigan the first time, $500 the second, $2,500 the third. And the smoking age in Michigan is 21. So if a 14-year-old is buying cigarettes at that place or any kind of vape products, that's a problem. So they should not have the right to be here. And it's horrible, and for parents that are trying to struggle with keeping those things out of their hands, the hands of their children, that's going to be helpful. Number 3, the election is over. I really hope that you reconsider the sign ordinance. It is a punishment for businesses. You and I have talked a lot about it. It doesn't fix that, because if there's a sign on their property and they didn't put it there, they're still responsible for removing it, and now they can get a fine. So I really hope that you look at it. I had talked to one particular candidate who heard from somebody at Shelby Township that said they weren't going to enforce it against certain elected officials. I don't know that that's true, but I know that there were elected officials that did not follow the ordinance. And number 4, I'd like to congratulate all of you on your win. I know, Rick, you went unopposed even in the primary, and that says a lot. That means the people of Shelby Township have a lot of confidence in you, and we hope that you will continue to work hard for us. Same with the rest of you. I know a lot of you didn't have to worry. We're a Republican township, but still, elections are difficult, they're hard work, they're expensive, and so I wanted to congratulate. As somebody who's gone through it, it's hard. So thank you for your time, and I hope you guys just continue to work hard for us over the next 4 years.
Thank you very much. Having gone through it yourself, you know how hard it is. Yeah. And I do want to say the sign ordinance is something that Julie Missich has already begun looking at. But you're right, we haven't changed it because, we were in the middle of the process. But we're looking at it, and there will be some, I don't want to say subtle changes, there will be some changes. Because even though the result was good, as Mr. Huth has said, and as you have said, the process needs a little fixing. And I do want to say, there's no truth to some people had an advantage over others. Everybody got equal treatment. So, as Vince Lombardi used to say, everybody's, how do you say that? Everybody gets treated the same like dogs? No, it wasn't quite like that. But we did have our enforcement out there, and we did the best we could. But you're right, we'll make some improvements. Thank you.
Yes. So it's drive-through or walk-through? So, last year we didn't have as many, but the year before we had 400 cars. This year you can actually also walk through it, so you can park at Morgan Elementary School, and you can do all 9 stations. They have the different 9 stations, and then they have free hot cocoa and cookies.
Oh, wow.
And then you can go in and you can see St. Nicholas, and you can write a letter to Jesus. Because it's a church, it's not the Santa, it's to St. Nicholas, and St. Nicholas, and writing a letter to Jesus about what you hope for Christmas and what you pray for. So it's a beautiful project. This is my 2nd year on the committee, and I'm all in. It's really a good community thing.
Nice job.
Yeah, all right.
Anybody else? Chief Pierce, thanks for sitting through this meeting. We appreciate it, and thanks for the great job you do in the fire department. And we have somebody else. I do want to say that bill, no, come on up. That bill in the House right now they're trying to tell us how many firemen that you're going to hire, and that is being discussed right now in the House, and I hope that does not go through. I know I forgot which representative it was, we have a police chief. He's the one that makes those decisions. We don't need you people in Lansing telling us how many people we need to hire. You know more than anybody. And the same with the police department, too. So I forgot the number of that bill, but I certainly hope it doesn't get the legs that people are saying it has right now. But we'll find out in the lame duck session. Okay.
Okay, sorry. I'm not going to keep you guys. I just wanted to follow up on the 26 Mile Road thing. I do live on 26 Mile Road. I do have Stony Creek as my buffer, but I would not like to see Hall Road on 26 Mile Road. 23 Mile Road, I think, is getting pretty overcrowded as well. And I used to work at Lakeside Mall, and I think it's just, we have to be careful with what we do with our roads and how many people can put businesses on there because we live in those areas, so.
I think Phil's using that as a term.
I know,
as
I know.
trackability,
I know Phil
almost like
otherwise
Lisa
too,
said,
but yeah, I know.
There's no way with the right-of-way there.
Right.
It's not going to, I don't even see it going to 4 lanes, let alone 6 lanes or 8 lanes. Maybe in the future,
Yeah.
maybe a long way away, maybe 5 lanes, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of right-of-way that
No,
would
I
have to be
agree,
picked
I
up.
agree. I just, giving our businesses a chance too.
Yep.
I was a small business owner at one time too.
You
We
know,
don't
3
want,
lanes
we
is
don't want the
different.
area to get too overcrowded with businesses too, because Lakeside Mall is,
Yep.
But
you know,
almost
we
like
don't wanna-
Shaner, where we're
but yeah.
talking about the part with 3 lanes,
Right.
you know, the 3 lanes past 23 Mile.
Yep.
Trackability with,
Yeah.
you know,
Anyway,
with
I
all the
just wanna-
decel lanes and bypass lanes.
Yeah.
Probably 3, but, yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
and again, thank you for all of you, and I'm glad that you all are back in.
Thank you for helping.
And serving
Yes.
us all as a
Thank you.
resident.
I just want to say one more thing. If there's going to be any road improvements, Shaner's got to be number 1 on a list. And I hope that we continue. Yeah, I know. And we've got 5, I want to repeat this, we've got 5 road projects out of 10. The people of Shelby Township have spoken, so we're really going to have to get passionate about this, about road improvements. Go ahead, Mr. Carabelli.
Before you wrap it up, I'd just like to say happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah, and a safe one. Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, on behalf of the whole board. Thank you for mentioning that. Anybody else from the floor? Okay, well, having conducted business, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Motion made by Mr. Viviano, seconded by Mrs. DeSico. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? This meeting is adjourned. We'll see you on December 3rd. Thank you. And we will be sworn in tomorrow, November 20th at noon. Thank you.